True addiction comes from emotional depth, not surface attraction. A man might be captivated by beauty, he might be drawn to charm, he might even be excited by the thrill of something new. But that spark dies quickly when it has no foundation beneath it. Physical attraction is temporary, it fades with time, it loses its shine once familiarity sets in. But emotional depth, the kind of connection that awakens his soul and challenges his spirit, that is the addiction he cannot escape. Men do not lose themselves over someone who only looks good. They lose themselves over someone who makes them feel something they cannot find anywhere else. That's what you must understand. Your greatest power is not in what is seen, but in what is felt. Think about it. A man can see beauty on every corner, in every scroll, on every screen. The world is saturated with appearances, yet why does he still search for something more? Because surface attraction excites the eyes, but emotional depth ignites the heart. It's the difference between a spark that burns for seconds and a fire that keeps him warm for a lifetime. When a woman embodies emotional depth, she becomes unforgettable. Her presence lingers even when she's not there. He thinks about her not just because of how she looks, but because of how she makes him feel. Safe, understood, inspired, and alive. That is the addiction that builds loyalty. That is what he cannot walk away from. Emotional depth is built in the small, powerful ways you show up. It's in how you listen to him when the world ignores his struggles. It's in how you carry yourself with grace even when life gets heavy. It's in the way you challenge him to become greater, not by nagging or belittling, but by standing so strong in your own worth that he cannot help but rise to meet it. Men respect what they cannot easily break, and they crave what they cannot easily replace. When your energy carries depth, you become rare, and rarity is what men protect, fight for, and cherish. Many women make the mistake of believing surface attraction is enough. They think being the most beautiful in the room will secure his devotion. But beauty without depth is like a book with a beautiful cover and empty pages. It catches the eye but never captures the soul. Men may enjoy it for a moment, but soon they move on, hungry for something real. What keeps him addicted is the woman who reveals layers he has to earn, a spirit he has to understand, and emotions that require trust to access. She does not give herself fully in an instant. She lets him discover her depth over time, and in that journey, he becomes bound to her. Emotional depth also means emotional stability. A woman who can remain composed under pressure, who doesn't allow chaos to shake her values, becomes a man's anchor. In a world filled with noise, instability, and distraction, he will cling to the woman whose energy feels like peace. This does not mean being passive or emotionless. It means being in control of yourself, your boundaries, your reactions. Men cannot resist the woman who brings balance to their storm. That stability becomes his addiction because he knows no matter how hard life hits, she is the one place where he can breathe. Another part of emotional depth is vulnerability, not weakness, but the courage to be real. When you open yourself authentically without games, without masks, you create a space where he feels safe to do the same. Most men spend their lives hiding behind armor, pretending to be stronger than they feel, because the world demands it. But when he finds a woman who allows him to drop that armor without judgment, he will guard her with everything he has. That kind of connection is priceless. It's not built overnight, it's not faked, it's earned through trust, patience, and authenticity. And once he experiences it, he will not want to lose it. Do you see now why emotional depth is so powerful? Surface attraction gets attention, but emotional depth captures devotion. Attraction fades when someone prettier enters the room, but emotional connection deepens with time and becomes unshakable. This is why some men leave the most beautiful women behind yet stay loyal for a lifetime to the one who made them feel seen, heard, and valued. That is addiction, not to the body but to the soul. But here's the truth, you cannot fake emotional depth. It's not an act you put on. It's not manipulation. It's not pretending to care. Real depth comes from genuinely knowing yourself, respecting yourself, and valuing your own emotions enough to offer them with sincerity. When you cultivate wisdom, discipline, and self-respect, it radiates through your words, your actions, your presence. Men feel it, they sense it, and it draws them closer like gravity. If you want to make him addicted to you, don't just focus on the surface. Build your emotional strength, nurture your compassion, refine your patience. Sharpen your standards, carry yourself like someone who cannot be easily replaced, because you truly cannot be. Show him not just the beauty of your face, but the beauty of your spirit, because when your soul has depth, he will keep diving deeper, never reaching the end, always craving more. That is how you become unforgettable. That is how you become his addiction. Not through what fades, but through what lasts forever. Challenge, respect, and loyalty create an unbreakable bond. These three qualities may seem simple, yet together they form the foundation of the kind of connection that lasts a lifetime. Many relationships fail not because of a lack of love, but because they lack these essential pillars. Attraction alone cannot hold two people together. Excitement fades, passion changes, and life's pressures can wear down even the strongest emotions. But when a bond is built on challenge, respect, and loyalty, it becomes impossible to break because it is rooted in strength rather than weakness. Challenge is the spark that keeps the fire alive. It does not mean conflict, nor does it mean constant opposition. True challenge is about pushing each other to rise higher, to refuse comfort zones, and to never settle for mediocrity. A man becomes addicted to the woman who challenges him, not through insults or games, but by showing him that he is capable of more. She demands his best, not by forcing it, but by inspiring it through her own standards. When he is with her, he feels his ambition awaken. She becomes the mirror that reflects his potential, the force that reminds him he was not born to be average. Without challenge, relationships grow stale because comfort turns into complacency. But with challenge, there is always movement, always growth, always purpose. And a man who grows with a woman will never want to lose her because she is tied to his progress. Respect is the glue that holds everything together. No matter how much love or attraction exists, without respect, the bond collapses. Respect is not just politeness, it is the recognition of value. It is treating each other as worthy, as equal, as significant. A man who feels respected by his woman will fight for her with everything he has, because respect makes him feel honored. It means his opinions are heard, his efforts are seen, and his presence is valued. At the same time, respect flows both ways. A woman who respects herself sets the tone for how a man must treat her. She does not beg for attention, she does not tolerate disrespect, and she does not compromise her worth. That self-respect commands admiration, and when she gives respect in return, acknowledging his strengths, valuing his sacrifices, and appreciating his presence, he feels a bond that goes beyond attraction. Respect creates safety, and safety creates loyalty. Loyalty is the fireproof shield. It is what protects the bond when life tests it, when temptations arise, when challenges grow heavy. Loyalty is not tested in easy times, it is proven in difficult ones. A man may be surrounded by options, but loyalty makes him blind to them, because he knows what he has is rare and irreplaceable. A woman's loyalty is felt in the way she stands by him when the world doubts him, the way she believes in him when he struggles, and the way she refuses to betray his trust. Loyalty is not just about staying, it is about staying true. It means the bond is not fragile, it cannot be shaken by distance, time, or circumstance. And when a man experiences that kind of loyalty, he becomes addicted to it. He knows that no matter where he goes, no matter what he achieves, there is a bond that will not break. When challenge, respect, and loyalty come together, they create a connection that is rare in this world. A woman who challenges him to grow, respects him as a man, and stays loyal through the storms is unforgettable. She becomes his safe place and his motivation at the same time. She makes him better while making him feel valued. She gives him strength while being his strength. That combination is impossible to walk away from. Many men have walked away from beauty, from charm, even from love, but they will not walk away from a bond that makes them feel complete, respected, and unstoppable. Think of it this way: challenge without respect feels like criticism. Respect without challenge feels like comfort. Loyalty without both feels like obligation. But when all three align, they create balance. He feels pushed but not attacked, honored but not idolized, safe but never stagnant. That balance is the secret of unbreakable love, and it goes deeper. A man who is challenged by his woman is reminded daily that he cannot slack on his potential. A man who is respected by his woman is reminded daily that he is valued for more than just what he provides. A man who is given loyalty by his woman is reminded daily that no matter how cold the world becomes, he is not alone. Together, these reminders create a bond so strong that even time cannot erode it. In today's world, where distractions are everywhere and loyalty seems rare, these three qualities stand out more than ever. Many women try to win a man with beauty, but beauty without these pillars fades. Many men chase excitement, but excitement without these pillars dies quickly. What keeps love alive, what makes him truly addicted, is not the surface but the foundation. Challenge sharpens him, respect strengthens him, and loyalty anchors him. That is the formula of addiction, not the shallow kind that fades, but the deep kind that transforms. This bond also transforms the woman. When she chooses to embody challenge, respect, and loyalty, she is not lowering herself. She is elevating herself. She becomes the woman who does not settle for weakness, the woman who commands respect by giving it, the woman who builds something lasting rather than temporary. Her worth multiplies because she is not just another option, she is the answer. At the end of the day, every man desires these three things: to be challenged to greatness, to be respected for who he is, and to be loved with loyalty that will not fade. A woman who gives him all three does not need to worry about losing him, because he will fight to keep her. She becomes his standard, the one he compares every other woman to, and none measure up. That is the power of challenge, respect, and loyalty. Together, they do not just create a bond. They create an unbreakable addiction that no one else can compete with. A woman's energy becomes unforgettable when it demands a man's best self. Men encounter countless faces, countless bodies, countless personalities throughout their lives, but only a few leave an imprint they cannot erase. That imprint does not come from perfection nor from fleeting attraction. It comes from the way a woman's presence awakens something deeper within him. A woman who demands his best self is not loud, not controlling, not manipulative. She is a force that quietly but powerfully calls him to rise. She makes him feel like the version of himself he has always wanted to become, and that is a feeling he cannot let go of. Physical beauty can catch his eye, but only the energy of a woman who draws greatness out of him can capture his soul. When a man is with such a woman, he feels different. He notices he speaks with more conviction, he stands taller, he works harder, he dreams bigger. He doesn't just want to impress her, he wants to become more for her because her energy does not tolerate mediocrity. She may never even say it directly, but he feels it. The expectation, the standard, the silent message that she will not accept less than the best version of him. That energy becomes addictive because it is not common. Many women demand attention, gifts, or affection, but few demand growth. And growth is what makes a man truly alive. This kind of woman does not need to shout or complain to demand his best. She embodies it. She carries herself with discipline, respect, and self-worth. She moves with purpose. She speaks with clarity. She respects herself so deeply that he cannot help but match it. When he is with her, he feels the gap between who he is and who he could be, and instead of resenting her, he is inspired. He looks at her and thinks, I cannot afford to stay the same. That realization creates a fire inside him, one that ties him to her energy. Because she is no longer just a woman he loves. She is the standard that challenges him every single day. What makes her unforgettable is not just the way she makes him feel about her, but the way she makes him feel about himself. He may have met women who flattered him, who admired him, who gave him comfort. But comfort is not what transforms a man. Comfort makes him weak, stagnant, unmotivated. But a woman whose energy demands his best makes him ambitious, disciplined, and driven. She does not tear him down or belittle him. She elevates him by expecting more and by believing he has more to give. She looks at him as though greatness is not optional but required, and he feels compelled to live up to that belief. This energy also creates respect. Men cannot truly respect what comes too easily. If a woman lowers her standards, if she accepts laziness, if she tolerates disrespect, he may enjoy her presence, but he will not hold her in the highest regard. But when she carries an energy that says, I know my value and I expect the same from you, he feels the weight of that respect. He understands that keeping her means becoming better, and that thought drives him. The bond formed in that space is not shallow attraction. It is a sacred pull. She becomes unforgettable because she becomes the reason he grows. It is important to understand that this does not mean controlling a man or trying to fix him. A woman cannot drag a man into greatness. He must choose it for himself. But what she can do is create an environment where his best self feels required, where anything less feels unworthy of her presence. She is not nagging him to change. She is living in such a way that he realizes he must rise or risk losing her. That silent but powerful demand creates a sense of accountability in him, and he treasures it, because deep down every man craves the challenge to become more than he is. Even years later, even if life takes them in different directions, he will not forget her. He will not forget the energy that made him feel alive, that demanded his growth, that pulled greatness out of him. Other women may offer beauty, excitement, or comfort, but none of them will offer the transformation she brought into his life. She becomes etched into his memory, not because of what she gave, but because of what she demanded. Not out of selfishness, but out of love and respect. And here lies the truth. A man's addiction is not to the easiest woman, nor to the most beautiful, nor to the most available. His true addiction is to the woman who made him better, the woman whose presence was a constant reminder of who he could be. That energy is what he cannot find everywhere else, and that is why it becomes unforgettable. He knows deep inside that even if he searches the world, he may never again find the woman who demanded his best self without ever lowering her own. So many women today confuse love with sacrifice of self, thinking that giving endlessly, tolerating endlessly, and lowering standards will secure loyalty. But the opposite is true. Men do not stay addicted to what is easy. They stay addicted to what is rare. And rarity is found in the woman who refuses to compromise her standards, who refuses to settle for mediocrity, who refuses to allow the man beside her to waste his potential. Her energy does not destroy him, it builds him. And in that building, he becomes bonded to her forever. A man will never forget the woman who awakened his best self. She becomes his benchmark. She becomes the one he compares all others to. She becomes the quiet voice in his mind every time he slacks, reminding him of the standards she once demanded. That is why her energy is unforgettable, because it changes not just how he sees her, but how he sees himself. And when a woman has the power to shift a man's vision of himself, she holds the kind of influence that outlives time, distance, and even circumstance. That is the addiction every man secretly craves, not an addiction to her body, but to the greatness her energy calls out of him. That is the bond he will never break, because deep inside he knows. She didn't just make him fall in love, she made him become the man he was always meant to be. And in the end, understand this. What makes you unforgettable is not how you look in the mirror, not how many compliments you collect, not how loudly the world claps for you. What makes you unforgettable is the energy you carry, the standard you set, and the way you awaken something inside a man that even he didn't know existed. When your presence demands his best self, you separate yourself from every other face, every other body, every other voice he has ever known. You become the one he cannot replace, the one who haunts his thoughts, the one who defines what real love and connection should feel like. He may search for it elsewhere, but he will never find it, because what you gave him wasn't surface, it was transformation. And that is the rarest gift of all. Men forget beauty, they forget words, they forget fleeting feelings. But they do not forget the woman who demanded their greatness and believed they could rise to it. That is the addiction, that is the legacy. Be that woman, and you will never need to chase love. It will chase you because your energy is the kind that time, distance, and even life itself cannot erase.